let's move on to question number 16. Figure is not drawn to scale, and the question says, in the figure, lines M and N are parallel if x is equal to 6k plus 13 and y is equal to 8k minus 29. What is the value of z? So they have given us x and y. You can clearly see that these are vertical angles. Vertical angles are nothing but angles that are opposite each other when two lines intersect. You can clearly see that this line M and line N is parallel, and you also have a transversal T which is intersecting line M. And if you look at x and y, they are vertically opposite angles, which means they are congruent, which also means that I can write the equation as x is equal to y. And since x and y has been given in terms of k, we can equate those two. So substituting this, 6k plus 13 is equal to 8k minus 29. We will first solve for k. Then we can use that information to solve for z. I will tell you that later. So first we can, let's say, add 29 to both sides. And we can subtract 6k on both sides. So that way we will have 29 plus 13, which is 42. So 42 is equal to 8k minus 6k is 2k, which also means that we have to divide by 2 on both sides. 42 divided by 2 is 21. So now we know the value of k. But what do we need? We need the value of z, the angle which is over here. All the acute angles will be equal. Let me mark all the acute angles in the situation. These are acute, that is less than 180 degrees. And z is also the acute angle. It's less than 180 degrees. And x and y which are given, they are actually the obtuse angles. So xy and even these other two will be equal. Now since our target is to find z, that is the acute angle, one more thing we need to know, not only all the acute angles are equal to all the acute angles and all the obtuse angles are equal, not only that, apart from that, the sum of one acute angle and one obtuse angle will be equal to 180 degrees. Because if you observe over here in this situation, you have x and you have the other angle on the other side, they are both lying on a straight line, and sum of all the angles on a straight line is equal to 180 degrees. So what we can do is, we know that x plus that other acute angle over there, we don't know. Let's mark it with a question mark. It will be equal to 180 degrees. Okay. So since we know now that k is equal to 21, we can first calculate x. X is equal to 6k plus 13. So we will substitute x is equal to 6 times 21 plus 13 to find the value of that obtuse angle x. So 6 times 21 is 126, and we are going to add 13 to that. So that will give 139 degrees. So we know the value of the obtuse angle on that straight line. What about the other angle? Okay, sum of both the angles on a straight line is 180 degrees in this case. So 139 plus what gives us 180 degrees. So we just have to subtract 139 from 180. So we get that unknown angle to be 41 degrees. So if x is 139 degrees, the other angle over there on the left side of that is 41 degrees. And as I mentioned, all the acute angles are equal and all the obtuse angles are equal, which also means that now the z which we do not know, that is equal to 41 degrees as well. So that means answer choice C is correct. So the concept which we need to apply over here is, when you have two parallel lines intersected by a transversal, there will be totally 8 angles which are formed. 4 angles will be acute and 4 angles will be obtuse. The 4 acute angles will be equal and the 4 obtuse angles will be equal. You don't need to know their names. The sum of the acute angle and the obtuse angle, okay, each pair is equal to 180 degrees. So most of these problems on the SAT with just this concept, you can solve them.